Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Tyra Omilade, your Goddess Guru. And y'all know I love helping the sisters align with their life purpose using ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. How are you all this fine Friday morning? Yeah, I'm here real early, and I guess I'm going live twice today because there's a full moon workshop this evening right here on my channel. And so yeah, let's get together and celebrate. Full moon is actually tomorrow, but we're gonna talk today about what this moon means and just celebrate. We're in the energy of the full moon already, actually. So yesterday I had two of my priest friends come on, Iya Abagunde and Baba Osho. And um, we talked about a lot of things, but something that I asked them to speak on is what's going on with Will, Jada, and Chris. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's not because any of that's actually important. It's because I just feel like it's a moment that gives us an opportunity to see how far out can we expand the conversation about this couple, about that situation with that threesome, and how can what learning can we take away from it? And so I was pondering it this morning, and I started thinking about, well, I still hold the same position that I hold, even more after yesterday's conversation, because there were so many different opinions about what that situation was really about. And my position is that um, we're all right and we're all wrong. and and it's just because we're going to see it the way we are programmed on the inside, because nobody actually can really, anybody from the outside, I actually don't think any of those three have a full take on what's going on. So none of us on the outside actually know what's going on. I mean, like, seriously, none of us really know what's going on. But this is an opportunity to have conversations that will help us to understand, how does this apply to us? And so the reason I'm saying that all of us are right and all of us are wrong is because of this. I need to check something. Yes. Um, I want to bring up a graphic that was one of the first things that I learned when I started my journey into becoming a hypnotherapist and an NLP practitioner and coach, actually. Um, and I heard them say, the company that I train under, the trainer say, projection is perception. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But like, can we really explain it? And that's what I want to explain to you today. Why is perception projection? So, what is important to understand is, first and foremost, let me just qualify with what I'm about to say with, yeah, this is something that they neglected to teach us in school. Apparently, they're not teaching this to the people who, are like in charge of health and wellness on all levels. This is not something that is well known. And so, thank goodness for the opportunity for us to learn from people who, know these things. And so each one can learn and then pass it on to others. And that's what I'm passing on to you. And so, at some point we need to understand, who are we really? What makes us up? Like, how do we work? We fell from, the non-physical realm, the ancestral realm, into this physical realm. And part of that process is we forget. And maybe rites of passages back in the day did a better job of helping people at least connect with this. I don't know how conscious they were of all these levels of the mind and the internal representation that we have. But maybe, maybe rites of passages back in the day help people more, and we don't have that. And so most of us, we are walking around, we have zero idea consciously of how we really work. And so I'm doing my part to share what has been shared with me with others so that you can begin to, I say, number one, create the exact change that you want in your life. And number two, have more peace. One of the things that I will impart on you all that is coming to me as I continue down this path of spiritual growth and development. Honestly, the deeper I go into my own spiritual practice, the less I have opinions. I'm going to be 100 with you all. Spiritual growth and development honestly should lead you to a place where um, you're part of the reason I have fewer opinions is because I'm too busy working on myself. I'm working on my destiny. I honestly don't have a lot of times. I was wondering if anyone was going to join me this early. Great rising, Virgo Bliss. How are you, Queen? Glad you're here. Um, yeah, I'm too busy working on my destiny. I'm too busy working on what's going on with me. And the other thing is, my spiritual practice is leading me to understand all is one. There's only one energy, and all of us are divine emanations. And when that is my true paradigm, when this is how I live, then it just makes me, I don't know. I just don't have as many opinions, and it's not about me. It's not about where I stand. I'm just saying that what I am learning is that when we are living according, like, is the way we are looking at people. Let's just keep it on the topic of Will, Jada, and Chris. Is this the way that the great divine consciousness is speaking about them? Like, what is the great divine saying? And the great divine, honestly, when we study the Metunetter, one of the things I learned from our own Nephi men is the great divine is very detached. And that is because the great divine is you, is me, and it's, the consciousness. It's like the framework of this whole thing. It's just beingness. That's it. It's just allowing. And so, I'm like, okay, well, I have to, no matter how, and like I might look at somebody and think, that I do not value what you do. I do not align with what you do. However, I have zero opinion about it. I can release it and let it go and just let that be between that person and their soul. Um, so, I really think it's important for us to begin to say, how much can I walk in peace? How much peace can I have? And so one of the things that started bringing me peace is this diagram that I have up here, whatever we call it, not a diagram, but this model. And so one of the things that we want to understand is that we all have what's called an internal representation. And our internal representation is based on so many different things like time, location, your mood. It's based on meta programs, which are, think of software in a computer. Namaste. How are you? Neba or Neba? I'm an early riser too, Virgo Bliss. um, so it's based on, meta programs are like small um, software programs. Like, think about computer programs, and I don't know a lot about them, but I do remember creating these small programs, and they would just fire off. Like, once you created the program, it would just fire off. It just did what it did. We have that in us. It's called meta programs. Our language, our memories, our decisions, beliefs, values, and how you identify yourself. All of these will create it's an internal world that you have on the inside of you, or on the inside of us. And all of that determines what you are going to see or how you're going to interact with the world outside of you. And it will cause you to delete, distort, and generalize whatever is going on. And it's part of how we survive. Like, we can't take in everything. And so our internal representation, our internal landscape, it will set up like, this is what she wants. This is, these are the programs that are running within her, and these programs are calling in a particular experience and a particular way that she operates. And so that then begins to dictate what gets deleted, what gets distorted, and how we generalize things. And so the other thing to think about is like, and that's what happens. This over here, our senses also are going to dictate, you know, well, what comes in, we delete, distort, generalize, and it's all based on this. It creates an internal representation, and then it it dictates exactly how we interact with the world. We have all of this going on, and I am not fully doing this justice, but I think y'all get what I'm saying, because once we understand that what's on the inside of us is not what's on the outside of us, how we see the world is solely based. This is how we are designed. This is how the universe said, you know what? When I incarnate, I want, I got to set it up like this. And it's apparently been like this for a long time, because humans been here for a minute, right? And so, like, this is how we get to create whatever reality that we want. And we start changing any of this right here, it's going to begin to change how all of this is taken in. Okay. And that creates different states, behaviors, and results. Also, our physiology will dictate like what's going on in our body. How do we stand? I've been noticing in some of my pictures, I would notice my shoulders were a little bit hunched forward. And, I remember for years, I used to tell people shoulders up, back and down. And it's because our body will also create the experience. It will contribute to how we see all of this, okay? And so I just want us to understand that the way we see, I'm just going to use the example we've been using, this Will, Jada, and Chris experience. And if it's not them for you, think about whatever you have had an opinion about. It's really important for us to understand that it is only based on how we are programmed. Sometimes I hear people make statements about, let's say, it's we all have the same teacher in school, and it'll be 20 different opinions of this teacher, or we all have the same mom, and it'll be 3, 5, 7 different opinions of the mom, depending on how many kids she has, because it's the internal representation that will dictate the experience or how we see our mom, okay? And or whoever it is. So I think that's really important. And so what ends up happening for me is I decided, okay, I will have more peace understanding that with the way I see them, it's just an opinion. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Or I can have more peace with people having a different opinion from me, because I understand everyone's going to see it based on the way they see the world, is based on their internal representation. And another way that we can have peace from this is if somebody is saying, well, you're the reason that my life is bad, it's your fault. Especially if we stop and we're like, wait a minute, I didn't have anything to do with this. Then we can just think to ourselves, their internal representation is why they're projecting onto me the way that they are. And then it's vice versa. when I look at somebody, if I say it's your fault, there's a lot of times I'll sit around and I'm like, so and so did this and it made me feel this way. I'm like, no, I'm not abdicating my power to anybody. Nobody gets my power. Um, I will not project whatever's going on inside of me onto somebody else. And I'll call my energy back. I'll call my judgment of them back. I will take them off the hook, even if I feel like what they did, that does not work for me. It's it's okay. Like, we can decide that doesn't work for me, and I get to move on or whatever in my life. Um, but it's we really wanna be careful. I feel more peaceful when I call my energy back, and I'm like, "No, I will not project." My life cannot be affected by other people so much so that, I gotta sit and think about, well, it's all messed up because of fill in the blank. I can accept that somebody's behavior, let's say if I was depending on person A to do whatever and they didn't do it, like, that's a fact. But how I see it and how I see them, well, now it's gone to hell in a handbasket because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And, it's like all this energy of actually victimhood. I say that with a lot of love. I've been like the chief victim before. But I have so much more peace now when I can say, okay, that experience didn't work for me. And so now I'm going to see, is there something I need to learn from it? And then I'm just going to move on. Do we want more inner peace? I want to just encourage us to ask ourselves, how can I have more peace? How can I feel more at ease and in flow in my life? And part of it, and I guess it actually kind of goes with this full moon in Libra, talking about relationships. It's our relationship with the world. It's our relationship with ourselves. It's our relationship with our own inner landscape. If we want a different experience on the outside, then it's definitely important for us to go on the inside and begin to look at, okay, my identity, is it bringing me the experience that I want? What is my identity bringing me? And in an NLP world, this is like the easiest way to shift your your world. It's the easiest way to bring the results that you want in your life and to shift the way you see the world. Um, Values and beliefs, decisions, memories. That's one that I'm really big on right there. Like, what are your memories letting you experience in your world? Are your memories allowing you to have peace? If not, you might want to do something about that, right? Your language and how we speak. I remember learning in Spanish, they don't say I am sick. They say I have sickness. I was like, that's a really big difference. I am and I have. That's a really big difference. And it will shift how we see the world. And so, I might instead say, I am sick. I might say, I feel sick. I feel scared instead. Like, all of this really matters. And then really setting up meta programs. We can change this. We can shift our programming, and our programming can end up bringing a different experience in the world. And all of this dictates what we're going to see, is going to dictate how we communicate, it's going to dictate how we project in the world. And so I just encourage us all to understand that, on a grand scale, that we're just all a bunch of big opinions. Let's see here. Yes. Good. You're enjoying the lesson. Hey, miscellaneous AB. Oh my gosh, it's so good to hear from you, Jasmine. So yeah, I encourage you all to yeah, consider that everybody is right and everybody is not right about whatever. But in this particular case, I wanted to use the Will Jada Chris experience or situation, I should say, to have a conversation for us to figure out what can we learn from this? What can we take away from this? And understanding this model and implementing it in my life and only making shifts in myself. This is what is bringing me more peace. And I hope that this helps to bring you more peace. My goal is to talk about it more as time goes on. So yeah, thank y'all so much. I'm not going to stay on long this morning. I am that I am. Good morning. Okay, I see it's a morning crew here. I'll have to come on more in the early hours of the morning because I'm team early morning. I know I'm Central Time, so early for my time zone. So yeah, thank y'all so much. And let me know your takeaways. Let me know your thoughts. Also, again, I hope that you all will join me this evening for the full moon um, workshop. It's fun. I like having fun. My mantra since SFM is I choose peace. Yes. I choose peace. I choose peace. I choose peace will begin to lead you to a place where I remember now learning from Ra'un Nefer Amen. Oh my God, I chose the wrong one. Learning from Ra'un Nefer Amen. He said, when we are connected with the great divine, when our consciousness is most aware of the great divine energy, this great consciousness from which we all emanate, there's nothing that can move us from our center. And I assure you, when you are operating from your Amen self, when you are operating from your center, just don't have a lot of opinions about people. You don't have a lot of say so. You have a lot of, we will have more compassion. And I think having more compassion and operating from a centered place of peace will help to bring more healing to the world. And yeah, to each individual who's here. So love y'all all. See y'all later this evening. All right, early morning crew. Y'all make it a great day. Peace and love. Thank y'all so much for being here.